I'm David Allen, and this is one of a series of videos which is explaining the proposals in my new book called The Living Vote. Now, if you've seen other videos, you'll know that the proposals include a different structure of Parliament, with 75% of the members being party members and 25% of the members being elected as independents. Both these groups will be elected with a new voting system called first to past the post. Now, I've already done some videos explaining some of the benefits of these, but today I wanted to talk about the increased representation that this will bring and the limitation or the discouragement, if you like, of tactical voting. Now, when I developed the voting system in 2015, I applied the results of that work to the 2010 and 2015 general elections to see what would have happened. And it turns out that about 1.5 people got the MP they actually voted for. Now, that's a very significant improvement on what happens now. That was done when people did not know that second place would also be elected. When people know that, the likelihood is that that percentage will increase, that even more people will get the MP they voted for. Now, this is a proportionality which is desperately needed. In the 2019 general election, and in order to win an 80-seat majority, the Conservative government only needed about 5.5 million votes. They got more votes than that, but all the rest of their votes were wasted, and I've done a video on wasted votes already. You may want to check that one out. I mean, that's crazy. That's about 17% of the electorate. 32 million people voted. Only 5.5 million of those votes actually counted. It's even more bizarre when you think that also in 2019 we had the last European Union elections where the Brexit Party got 5.25 million votes in that election. It's crazy. It's not who you vote for, really, it's how the votes are organised that counts. And first to past the post is a much better way of organising them. So many more people will actually get the MP they voted for. That has to be encouraging, because a lot of people don't vote now because they know it simply doesn't matter. It doesn't count. If you're in a constituency which is heavily dominated by one of the major parties, it doesn't matter how you vote. Nothing will change. The other thing that first to past the post will affect is this concept of tactical voting. Now, my feeling is that many of you will agree with this, that we often vote to keep the other lot out, and not because we particularly want the lot that we're going to vote for anyway. It's kind of the least of two evils, really. And that's a tactical vote. But the nearer we can get to that actually encouraging people to vote for whom they really want, is to increase the proportionality and also increase the chances of other parties, smaller parties, actually becoming elected. Of course, with the proposals in the book, the independent members will be elected on their own merit as individuals. They won't be part of parties, and that's one of the huge benefits of it. And I will be doing a video on the point of independence and why it's such an important move for us. But tactical voting becomes much more difficult, because when you have two winners, who do you vote against? Also, the other type of tactical voting is where some parties stand down at elections because they have similar views to another party, so that the other party theoretically has a greater chance of winning. Never worked, by the way. The only time when it could have possibly worked, I think, was in 2019, when Nigel Farage stood down the Brexit Party in all Conservative seats where the Conservative candidate was a Brexit supporter. That would certainly have aided the majority somewhat, even though the Brexit Party would never have won a seat, despite the number of votes that they got in a different election under a different voting system. So not only will more people get the MP they voted for, but the incentive to vote tactically is severely watered down. It's hardly worth it, because, as I say, you have two winners. Who do you vote against? You can only really vote for. And that will improve our politics. Thank you for watching.